Good evening, people of the blue planet. It's the blue moon. It's very blue in here. We have Funnelcakes and Sorbius facing off in the blue moon waxing bracket here in the Zemus Zone 5 tournament. I'm up and joined on the mic by CS Radical. Radical, how's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited for what's looking to be a race that we're getting spoiled with very early in this bracket. This is the kind of race that a lot of people have been talking about being something you would have expected much later in the bracket, but here we are, very early on in the bracket, getting a match of this caliber. This is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to see what we see in store for us this evening.
Absolutely. Funnelcakes, Sorbius, both very esteemed runners, very skilled, and yeah, we're still like what is this, round of 32, round of 6. We're not even in the best of 3 rounds yet, and to have this happening, it's going to be an interesting match to see. And Prep Potato taking care of the tracking, and a boss spread that I believe was cited as being a bit Red Moon actually, with some of these showing up.
I mean, CPU, DKC, Turtle, those all sound like fun.
I mean, they can be, and then they can be. Uh, it all depends on where we end up finding them, and of course, we're not going to know that until we get things rolling.
And I mean, given what I've seen in some seeds otherwise that we have come across in the various brackets, always a chance that there's a really rude gauntlet on the moon, especially in that Masa spot, which I've seen more times than I would have expected to already. So hey, so don't tempt me with a good time here behind the race here in the booth where I'm very safe.
Yeah, we get to just observe. We don't have to deal with whatever kind of nastiness Cubs Roll has managed to roll, or whatever kindness they managed to roll. We don't know. We've had some jets.
I mean, I don't know. It's not that late in the evening, so I think we're okay for at least 2 hours.
I sure hope so.
But otherwise, with the bosses that we are seeing, I mean, there's definitely a chance to get a couple of these early, not have to think too much about it. You definitely don't want to see CPU much later because you just don't want to deal with the headache that is that health. But DKC is going to be another very interesting one to see where he ends up being located.
Yep, as we get rolling, we see that our Cecil is joined by an Edge, so that's handy. And Yalga showed up to not join the party, but to hand us a twin harp. So that's a start.
And that needs to be checked immediately, right?
I mean, you have a decent enough party for doing so in terms of 2 people. In that neither of them are going to be leaning heavily on magic attack. So if you've got, if you spike good equipment, you might as well go for it.
Give the people what they want. But obviously, we'll see our runners make the myriad of checks, seeing what Bedward's got, seeing what our free characters are going to be in the no-earn spots, which continues to throw me off no matter how many of these runs I've seen so far.
Yeah, Sorbius is going to go straight for those character checks, heading over to Mysidia where we get 2 of them. Funnelcakes heading over to Troya, hitting up that free item that is here on the Blue Moon. But it looks like we have 1 twin and 1 bard.
Yeah, and it probably makes sense in Sorbius' mind to also go this way early because he may decide to tackle Ordeals as soon as possible. You have an edge start, and you're going to want that Cecil Paladin ASAP, especially if you can find some decent gear for it early. So, yeah, this is going to be the kind of thing that you're going to check very, very soon, especially if that character Ordeals can really help you as well.
Yeah, although Sorbius might want to go and get that free key item from the other Edward. It was Edward's best weapon, the spoon. And he actually has some utility for that now. Funnelcakes just has a key item kicking around like, okay, maybe there's a bard.
But no, going straight up to Ordeals. Maybe to at least check the character, but maybe to even go further than that, depending on what character's up there. But yeah, that spoon is definitely going to come in handy on Funnel side.
Yep, it'll either turn your bard into quite the glass cannon, very fragile, but that is some of the highest attack that you'll ever see. Or it's a free 10,000 damage to 1 boss of your choice.
Well, depending on what Sorbius decides to do next, he may have at least that equipment for Edward because he is not finishing Ordeals at this point. He is going to go take some more looks around, maybe checking all the characters that are available to him. maybe checking, like we said, Bedward, which is what it's kind of looking like. Yep. So we know that spoon's about to happen too. So
Mhm.
going to be very happy with that Bedward. I mean, you prefer some other items, but when you have an Edward in your party, a spoon's, it's a distant second.
Yeah, yeah. Funnelcakes, meanwhile, though, has been going and looting out the Castle Eblin. Makes sense to have Edge in the party. This is his domain. This is his stuff, which includes a curse ring, nice to have, and a Stardust Rod, nice to have if we find a mage that can use it. Which
And if I'm not
we have a
mistaken,
Palom.
Palom was at
Yeah.
Mysidia, so yeah.
Curse ring is handy with basically any party composition, so you're always happy to see that. But once Funnelcakes goes over to Mysidia and finds out about those two characters, I think he'll be pleased.
Yeah, that party's going to be pretty decently set for weapons already. Now it's just going to be a matter of finding some better armor. Like even a glass helmet would be nice for Edward, just to kind of reduce that physical damage that he's going to take, even in the back row.
Mm-hmm. We also got a quick glance at some of the Seamneki rolls, whatever you want to call them. Oh, hey, there's a boss we need to fight.
And that's a great spot for it. You don't have to think about anything with this fight.
Nope, it does damage. It technically does damage.
I mean, hopefully Edward doesn't need to run on this, but that roll, I mean, it was a 28 on the first roll. If that roll's really angry, or I guess you could just finish the fight.
Yeah. There are two ways. There are two ways to defeat Dark Knight Cecil, and this one actually defeating him might be faster.
And also opting to loot at least one chest in Mist Cave, just because the rolls are actually, the loot can be generally kind of fun in there, just because of the way that it's weighted. But opting to only take the one, not wanting to take the full journey when there's other chests that Sorbius can hit along the way.
Yeah, there's plenty of other spots to deal with.
We're gonna get a peek at one more of our free characters, and the only thing that'll be left will be a Damsian. So we'll see how our party is almost going to be fully shaking out here. And there's your exit spell.
Yep. There's your vanilla as well. Tella over here in the Watery Pass. That's all your mage utility that you're really going to need for the whole thing.
Vanilla, insert Dathis joke here.
Sure.
It definitely gives you some room to also do a little bit extra looting here in Watery Pass. Maybe even go through the entirety of the cave just to see what you can find, because even if you don't find necessarily good things for your party, there's still some potential money that'll help you down the road. Although I guess that ribbon's pretty nice.
You like a ribbon. You like to see a ribbon.
Yeah, gonna finish off our checks here. Damson will probably check the waterfall at some point, considering we've already seen that DKC early.
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't. You got one free fight out of the way. Maybe you'll spike another. Maybe we'll have 3-4 of our required bosses before we go underground. We've seen it happen.
And with the Rosa finishing off all of our free characters, that's a pretty decent collection you can have here.
And Sorbius is going to lead full Zerker party with those two mages supporting things.
Yeah, I imagine not going to Eblin and getting that Stardust Rod makes that decision very easy for him right now.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Tella or Sid, both of them are plausible anchors with a curse ring, but again, that's something that Funnelcakes has and Sorbius does not.
Well, what the seed has is already 2 instances of vanilla. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned here.
It's the Watery Pass. We've concentrated the vanilla there, and I don't want to think about that any further because that sounds kind of disgusting.
If I swear to God, there's an antlion here. But at this point, Funnel's just doing mostly the same checks right now, just getting all the information that he needs for what his party's going to be. Some of the early bosses get that stuff done. So we'll start seeing where the deviation leads as Funnel finishes up their character checks.
Oh, but no, it's dolls in the cave.
I mean, there was a pincer, just not with claws.
Yeah, it is kind of a pincer attack.
It was a much creepier looking pincer.
Yeah. but a single flame will show them how, and we get a rat tail out of the deal.
Nothing you can use right now, but you know you're going to see a hook very, very soon, so you know that's going
Mhm.
to come in handy at some point.
Yeah, and frankly, I would redeem that before going underground, because I'm in these flag sets. I'm not as terribly interested in the pink tail personally, uh, and it's handy to get that out of the way in case that turns into something like the pan or the tower key that I'm going to want to use underground.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. It can be a very versatile item down the road if you get the right thing. I mean, even if it's a darkness crystal now, it just gives you a heads up of as soon as you're underground and how you're feeling, and if you just want to go and face check, or if you want to take a little bit of time and grind out the underworld, depending on what items you have. So it definitely brings you a lot of versatility depending on what you get out of it. And Sorbius continuing to do all the easy checks that he can right now, finds that one of the Baron or Kaipo guards is at Mount Hobbs, has no reason to go forward with that. Now checking for Bull, and then obviously we will see that Ordeals check very shortly as well, because you do want to get that Paladin Cecil going.
Absolutely, and if you've got that Tela in your party still, that's where your all your power, all your activation comes from, is actually doing all of that. You still have exit early on, but you're gonna want the good stuff. And invading Fabul is 3 imps in a trench coat.
I mean, it's almost vanilla. I mean, it was some robes, just not the same color.
Yeah.
They
Although
will
there was-
also
yeah.
not offer too much of a challenge here, but
Oh, they survived flame.
yeah, I guess they did a little bit better there than the dolls did. Not by much, but they tried.
I
They
mean,
they at least
yeah,
got attacks in.
yeah, they're trying, they're helping, just in some way, maybe, I don't know. But they're gone now, so forget it.
That'll bring us another key item check after that, unless, actual with the harp, I guess that counts as 3, but unless we have another bit of deviation like an earth crystal here, that'll leave us with only 2 more other of the main checks that you get right off the bat. And there's your tower key. So, as we said earlier, now that gives you something extra to think about going underground with.
Yep, you're able to peek the top of the tower boss as you're going down the hook route. So you'll have that information plus the tower key. Really good sense of, is this going to be something that I need to do right now, or can I just hold off till later?
Yeah, it'll especially depend on when our runners do inevitably get underground and they peek what the boss at top of tower is. That will definitely decide where, if they decide to go that way.
Yeah, if I see a turtle up there, I'm going immediately. I know I can clear out the whole thing, and I know I'm going to need to fight that. So just get it out of the way.
Yep. So we'll see now. Assuming Ordeals is the play here, which that looks to be the case on Sorbius' side.
Yep.
Funnelcakes in the meantime. Looks like just following lock and step right now. Going to check for Bull. Going to see that tower key very shortly as well. And we'll probably make a similar play as well. Now in Funnel's side though, Funnel may have a bit of an advantage just with the extra equipment that he has drawn from Evelyn Castle. So we'll see how that shakes out as we carry on here.
Yep, that's the edge that Funnelcakes has right now is that equipment. Sorbius, having checked that mist cave, though, that's one more objective, and it is the objectives that matter at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Although I think at least, I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Sorbius ever checked the Damsian basement because there was a longsword down there.
You know, he may have skipped that, yeah. I mean, this is of the 2 tournaments. This is the one that has the more variance in that equipment. So maybe thinking I can stumble into the good stuff almost wherever.
Yeah, that's always a possibility too. Like the amount of times you can just come across something very strange, like a white spear, just in the middle of nowhere, and there you go. You have a fantastic dart. It's always something that you can think about with T Wildish because you never really know what you're going to find.
But our first fight up here on Ordeals is just a Bahamut. It's a slow enough spot, low enough HP. You can just damage race this pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, throw in the Drain Spear just to make sure, but this was still not going to be too much of a hassle, so that is 1 down. And then we'll see if the back attack decides to be something very rude. There are definitely some possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of them is an objective.
And one of them is an orb. This actually isn't that rude. I just needed to, segue into what we've seen, which is an objective and is orbs.
Yeah, there are worse spots for it, but this one's still going to be kind of annoying. It's going to take a second. I mean, you probably hope that you had that Drain Spear, not a dart, because that would have made this a little bit faster.
Oh, yeah. I mean, still a reasonable call to throw it at Bahamut, but
Well, you got a Slumber Sword, so at least it's something. That'll go a long way.
Actually, yeah, it goes 1400. But that's a longer way than I thought a Slumber Sword would go in this spot.
Yeah, so yeah, that CP is going to go down pretty quick now. I was really hoping Cecil would have finished that. That would have been great, but no, we don't always get what we want.
He's helping.
Yeah, having the extra dart there definitely made the difference. It still would have been fine, but it just would have taken a little bit longer than you'd like to, because CPU is just one of those bosses that, in most cases, it's not really a threat to anything except your time.
And especially when we have a proper white mage and a Tella in the party, we can heal through all those attacks. They're just going to be fractional damage. We can deal with that. Without that dart, it's going to take a while to do that.
I mean, you got to say, though, very early on here, especially if we see anything interesting in this room as well, you already have two bosses off the table that if any boss happens to be on the giant, you're glad it's not one of those two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are dreadful. And we have the hook here, so as if starting with Cecil didn't make this required already, you have to come up here and do Ordeals.
Yeah, you're at least getting one. Oh, well, yeah, this is definitely a harp require Ordeals.
You have to do Ordeals, chat.
Speaking of bosses you don't want to find in certain parts, this Cups is being very generous with the seed, I have to say, in terms of the boss shaking down so far. I mean, now I just have to sit here and assume that Gauntlet has to be at Masamune at this point. Like, it's got to balance out at some point.
Prayer unanswered. Well, if you prayed for a quick seed, I think that one did get answered thus far.
And I mean, there's still the potential of, Mega Sisters being in a really, really fun location, but like, all the real fun ones have already kind of been taken off here. It's at least the ones that are threatening to me.
Yeah, I think what I was saying at the start of the program of like some of these bosses that you love to see or you love to see, I think we've hit all three that I was really thinking of. Dr. Luge and Magus Sisters maybe would fall in that domain. And Ineffable Gauntlet is extremely variable. But like Leviathan is
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think Leviathan is really threatening in like any spots, because I haven't really found one that's been like that rough.
It's really stable is the thing. Like the damage that it does. That big wave is just a fractional attack every single time. The punches, the ice, those can be mean. You can have ways to deal with that. And then Golbez, like, there's a strategy no matter where. It's just a matter of how easy or difficult that strategy is to execute.
Also, side 11, the rare Lilith grind there from Sorbius. That gets Cecil up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I assume you check all your bases anyway. Probably going to take a peek at Baron just to see what's there, because it is two bosses. Don't know if we'll see the harp checked right away. That's usually avoided by most.
Yeah, that harp is fading the longer we go. It's just not worth it for one boss check.
I mean, especially when, you've already found three, you kind of just have the temptation to go, no, everything's fine right now. Don't worry about the really cheeky ones that are going to take a while. You have three already. Just go with where the seed's kind of taking you at this point.
Yeah, and if you end up, clearing the underground to the best of your ability, maybe you even have the Darkness Crystal in hand, then you can look at that and be like, it's a bit of a transit, but it's gonna be a fast fight now. I've got so many levels. Now I'll deal with it. Now I'll check, can I spike a 7 out of that?
Oh wow, both of our runners using their 1 siren on the Lilith grind. I guess they just want that Paladin Cecil up real quick. I mean, Fabul defense would have been a great spot to do it too, because the experience there can be pretty high, but in this case, just opting not, just get this over with. If I find sirens, I find sirens. If not, I got other methods.
Yeah, you've got Atella. You can demachine if you really need to.
Yeah, the option is always there.
But yeah, Sorbius is now in the Eblin Castle that Funnelcakes has already looted through, and so is obtaining that Stardust Rod, that Curse Ring, and so forth. We'll see if he's willing to actually take the trap chests. Funnelcakes found those and avoided them, which made total sense for only having 2 characters around. But Sorbius might be able to tackle those and get the loot out of those.
Yeah, we'll see if Funnel checks back on those chests, possibly, but for now, I'm going to take a look at Baron and seeing what's happening over here.
Well, we have some manner of Mylon in the front.
And it's the friend kind. Well, that flame is getting a lot of use really early here.
He's showing us how. Someone's got to show us how.
Well, that's 1 fight down. We'll see what the second offers us. Oh, that's... You know... That's just great. In a fight that you're not going to get XP in, it's the freest of free fights.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking earlier about, you know, being happy to see some bosses taken off the board early. This is one you're not happy to see off the board very early, especially in this location where you don't even get any sort of XP from it.
You really want this later on when you can just let the script do its thing.
If you want to talk about bosses you want to see on a giant, here you go. And especially when it's only worth a tiara. Oof.
Yeah. So, Pin Baron in overall.
I wouldn't be too concerned, though. I would imagine Sorbius would make this check, too.
Yeah.
It's 2 pretty simple bosses. It's usually one that you would go for, so... I don't think Funnelcakes is really going to be deterred by this, and now we'll see if Funnel decides to just go straight for the hook route or to maybe check those traps. Oh no, checking our freebies first. We'll be glad to check this one.
Absolutely. Let's put our runners back on even footing.
Yeah, well, that fight went even quicker.
That's the power of levels.
We can't even say Cecil tried in that fight. Cecil showed up and was told to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, check the waterfall, find the vanilla Octomam there, and then we'll see, again, if that's going to be enough, decides to go check the hook route, or maybe does a little bit more extra checking with potentially the trap chest, or maybe even twin harp. I would doubt the latter, though.
Yeah, same.
At this point, you've already got 3. Might as well start getting underground, start making those checks. I mean, if you get really lucky too, you might find one of those 2 bosses on your way down anyway.
Hey, Atella landed stone. Good job.
Also, a rarity of seeing the skulls actually still hanging around before this fight's over.
Yeah, a couple of low rolls on those flames.
Yeah, not too great on those. Oh, no, we're going to check the rat tail. I already forgot about that.
Yep.
Now, this could be very interesting if that comes up as an earth crystal.
No, it's the other crystal.
Yeah, it was a crystal.
Still interesting.
Yeah, it definitely, as we said earlier on, this is going to make your thought process after the underground a lot more interesting.
Honestly, it adjusts your thought process before the underground. Do you take this party and grind now? I don't think we found ethers or elixirs.
I don't believe so. I don't think our runners
Yeah.
really have either done a lot of shopping either. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
but oh, we're both checking traps. Getting a crystal, just not the crystal you want. I mean, well, I guess a crystal ring is not bad either, but it's
Yeah.
not the shiniest of crystals that you were hoping for.
No, it's speed manip.
It's not a get out of jail free crystal. Certainly not what you were hoping for out of those traps. Not the best of loot, but wouldn't be any fun if you just get everything you want.
Yeah.
As Sorbius will find out when he does the Baronin check and realizes that there's a whole whack of nothing here. Can't even say you really get a lot of XP out of this either. But yeah, as you mentioned, this might actually bring up the idea now. Assuming Sorbius checks the rat tail as well, you know, that grind is going to start looming over their heads a little bit here.
Yeah, I think one other factor though is, and we'll see if how our runners decide to sequence this, but the bosses on the hook route, because if those are pretty free, like why you don't really need to worry about grinding yet. If there's something nasty there, and we've seen runs that folks have run into some pretty nasty fights on the required hook routes, maybe that makes you take pause.
Yeah, it is kind of the big question too for both of our runners is do you peek the bosses first before you make that decision, or do you just commit to what you're thinking of right now?
Because as another, like, if you're going in and then ducking out, that's a long walk.
Yeah. I mean, you do have at least decent source of power. Obviously, you're having Spoonward. You would have hoped to found, you know, a decent sword for Cecil in the castle, but not quite. But you do have like a pretty decent party. Like I think this is definitely a party that can get some work done as long as the bosses aren't too unforgiving heading down this hook route.
Yeah, and I think even if they are leaning towards the unforgiving side, you can probably set up a strat. I say this as someone who would not be able to set up a strategy, but you probably could. It's probably possible.
Yeah, I think we can both kind of speak for that. It's like there are probably strategies. I don't know what they are. I'm not sure if I could institute them if someone told me what they are, but there are strategies.
Mm-hmm.
But we shall see. Both of our runners are finished whatever they've been working on here. Sorbius with the inn, Funnelcakes with the castle. Also, man, charm arrows. That's gotta hurt coming out of that chest.
Charm rod, but even so, like we had that Stardust. We had that Stardust rod. Like either way, we don't care.
I think Huffin found two, or not Huffin. Funnel found 2 Stardust rods. So yeah, you're not really interested in that charm rod.
I have found 2 Stardust rods, but that's a different game.
But yeah, we're gonna get the news on Sorbius set up about that Darkness Crystal as well, and we shall see what happens next here. Funnel now making that journey underground. I would assume Sorbius will follow suit, but we'll see.
That's Sorbius trailing immediately behind. Decent shop. Hourglass 2s. We'd love to see those.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No, it's my personal favorite part of the game when you just get to sell basically a half of your inventory.
Yeah, just clear that out before it becomes a problem.
Yeah, hourglasses, coffins as well if you get lucky with a couple of bosses that might use the bit. I mean, we've already seen a couple of them off the list. Actually, some of the really good easy ones are already off the list. We know one of the guards are gone because they were at Hobbs. We've already seen King Queen Eben. We've seen the dolls.
Mm-hmm. We've seen imps, or in terms of boss bit fights.
So for the most part, most of the easiest ones are already taken off the board, which, going down a hook route guarantee is not what you're hoping for. Although seeing another White Spear, T Wildish being again very generous here, just giving you some really nice darts to work with. And it's okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
He needs to check shops.
Heroin Rogue,
God.
Life Step, open chests, it turns out.
Yeah, that's the new meta here. Just open everything. I mean, that's my personal meta.
As we were saying in chat earlier, it's not looting. Edge is in the party. This is his domain. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, that is definitely turning out to be canon right now. Tell is helping, of course. But yeah, both of our runners pretty much lock in step with each other. Funnel really up by maybe 30 seconds or so right now.
I mean, if we had Iridia, that'd be a wonderful thing to spike. But instead, it's money, which is also nice.
Yeah, money's also nice. Well, okay. Well, speaking of something with the boss bit.
Yeah. Get it over to the second phase, and you can just knock that thing out.
So that's at least one that our runners won't be too concerned about. So now it's just a matter of what's going to be in the King-Queen spot. Because, there's always the chance of an evil wall.
Oh, yeah. Completely forgot about the evil wall, actually. And here's another strong application of those coffins. Just take out the Mad Ogre fight and hope for, Holy Sword or some other high spike.
Well, and I mean, at this point, if you're Funnel, it makes sense, because at this point, unless somehow the other boss fight in this hook red is the other set of guards, you only really need the one coffin.
Little mismenuing with a life glitch, but no big deal. You still get one bonus out of this, so little splash of XP as well.
And we'll see if the last of our trap chests here on this route are going to be giving us anything interesting or something more fun that we don't need. I mean, a ninja hat.
It's agility. It's speed control.
It's something. I mean, given how generous the rest of the chests have been, it's kind of poetic that the trap chests have mostly not given us much of anything. I mean, I guess, again, with that Rydia, Bahamut would have been pretty fantastic.
If only she existed.
Yeah. Apparently the meta was just to open up normal chests, because that seems to be the real play right now.
Yeah. And apparently the meta was to let Tella cast Stone, because Sorbius knocked that fight out in one fell swoop, which is nice to see.
Yeah, isn't it great when Tella actually does the thing?
Yeah, he should do the thing more.
It would be great. Although that's asking a lot from Tella.
Yeah. I mean, some days it's asking a lot of me too, so I understand.
Well, look, Tella's more of a medio guy. Just forcing him to do anything else, it doesn't sit well with him. He doesn't put his best effort forward,
Yeah, you can tell he's not inspired.
No. This is definitely like when he made the Stone spell. Like, this was definitely not the album that he was the most focused on. This was definitely the record label made me put this out kind of spell,
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's still one or two that end up on the greatest hits, because like there's some bangers in there, but it's the low point.
Yeah, but in the end of the day, I mean, Tella Medio did become a bit of a one-hit wonder, so
yeah. Oh, look, a sparkle. That's nothing that we need.
That's also kind of mean.
A little, yeah. Especially when you're not healed.
Yeah, by most of the party. Now it's time to play damage control a little bit here.
Yeah, as Ogo does the damage and takes control.
Yep. Ogo read the script, saw the plan, and went, I have a counter. And it's called Pain.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see now. Sorbius technically a little bit ahead now, but also not really healed either, so... Although a few of them will be able to take the hits, but again, just like in Funnel's fight, Rosa's not going to be hanging around very long. The only question now is Ogo a little bit more cooperative on Sorbius' side compared to what he did with Funnel? And that first attack says yes. So we'll see how that turns.
It's a very friendly first pick. And of course, zerking up Eddie, just let him swing as much as he possibly can. As much as Ogopogo will allow.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the next wave. Oh, high edge. Eddie putting in the work, does manage to get it down, though. And thankfully didn't have to worry about XP in this fight, so edge being down means nothing. Although, on Funnel's side, Ogo apparently doesn't like Funnel nearly as much as he likes Sorbius.
No, Ogo has taken sides.
I don't know if Sorbius slipped a 20 there in Ogo's pocket, but I feel like there might be some shenanigans going on here.
It's a big stack of toonies.
Yeah,
that's Canadian content for y'all.
I mean, the toonies aren't really going to be worth much, though. I think
it's a big stack.
Oh, that's got to be a really big stack then. And yeah, now with this Dark Elf fight, you throw that White Spear immediately because you want to see that second phase ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
And we now officially have our first instance of bacon in the seed. Well, thankfully on Funnel's side, 3 tries was enough.
Yep, just has to quickly catch up to Sorbius casting that week. That's how you do it.
There it goes. And we have, at just shy of 35 minutes, our first runner underground. Funnelcakes will not be far behind. But the ultimate question, do either of our runners finally overcome the pitfall?
Someday. When we do push B to jump. Not today, unfortunately.
Real shame.
Yeah.
So we'll hopefully get to see our first peak. And it is a sparkle. So the temptation's not going to be there, but you do have a tower key, so it's going to be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, you'll at least be able to do, the whole thing in one fell swoop when you do it, but you don't need to do it right now.
Yeah, I would imagine the Feymarch freebie will definitely tell our runners, what they want to do next.
Yeah, personally, I'm thinking Dwarf Castle first. Just try to knock out a couple more bosses. You're not too hard up for key items.
Yeah, you do have the Warp Glitch too, so that'll give you a chance at 2 of them. And especially if you can find that pan, that can really open up what you think you're going to need, so...
Yeah, and smooth out the rest of your route underground.
Absolutely. And there you go. You are completely correct on this one, as we're going straight to Dwarf Castle. And there we go. Funnelcakes at 36:30 will now be going underground as well, so... We have both of our runners underground here. By the way, make sure you do follow both of our runners, Funnelcakes and Sorbius. Both fantastic runners in our community. And Funnelcakes, first tournament since graduating from Pink Puff League this season as the number 1. So, In fact, both of our PPL number 1s from the last couple of seasons have done very well. Curios has also made some waves early on, has actually moved on to the next round that Funnelcakes is currently trying to get into, so... And I believe our number 2 this season, Reckless Charlie, has advanced to the round of 16 as well, so PPL showing their stuff in this tournament.
And looks like the Dwarf Castle play is paying off. We have the good doctor here.
Yeah, not too shabby a spot to find him either, so you're okay with this. I mean, you're always okay to have a boss objective here anyway, but this is definitely one that At least with Dr. Dialogue here that you're okay with.
Yeah, the magic attack here is a bit nasty, but you don't have to worry too much about that front. Certainly compared to some other bosses.
Absolutely. There are definitely a few that would not be not the nicest here. But that's phase 1 down. Funnelcakes will be hot on Sorbius' tails doing the exact same check. It's going to be very interesting. Like at some point, we're going to finally start seeing some deviation again, and that's going to be really where this race kind of changes. I mean, it's always possible that maybe our runners both kind of just stay on the same path for most of this race, but you want, especially with that darkness crystal and some of the items, depending on how they shape out, especially with these 2 key item checks we'll see at the end of Dwarf Castle here, and with the warp glitch. We'll see. We'll see if there's any sort of real deviation coming up shortly.
Yeah, you have to wonder if, like, because again, with that darkness crystal coming early, you have to feel like your opponent has grabbed that, and then it becomes a little bit of that meta game of what is my opponent more likely to do? Are they going to chase that, use that as a grind, try to, get something cheeky out of that? Or are they just going to follow kind of what the seed is telling me to do? And how much is that going to inform your decision making? It feels like from Funnelcakes and Sorbius, they both at least settled on the decision of, I'm just going to follow the seed. I'm not going to do, a really ridiculous moon play. I'm just going to follow what it's steering me towards.
Yeah, it can definitely be. It's a difficult decision in some ways because, again, Darkness Crystal gives you 8 potential checks, and you can just quickly face check most of them, especially in the LST. So it definitely gives you a lot of opportunities to, if you're looking for, in this case, 3 more bosses, that's a lot of chances here. Now, obviously, you'll check Fey March because that's the easiest thing to check right off the bat, but Darkness Crystal just gives you so much, and the math kind of just tells you that. But there's always that chance that somehow, even with all those checks, there's nothing there, and maybe the play was to just go elsewhere. Like, for all we know, Tower Key may have it. For all we know, Twin Heart may have one. There's always those chances.
And we've seen that already this tournament. Just completely haunted moons, which for a boss hunt setup like this is surprising, but still happens.
Yeah, and there's still items that we haven't even seen yet. Earth Crystal, Baron Key, Package, Luca Key. There is still plenty of items out there that may be hiding the bosses we're looking for. Earth Crystal hides 2, Baron Key with 3, Package and Luca each with 1. That's a lot of boss locations still. And that's where that deviation can come into play.
Yeah, but we are through those 2 boss locations over in Dwarf Castle. Getting our Warp Glitch freebie is the Pan. Love to see that.
There we go, about the potential of key items really starting to change over here. The Pan's going to give you 3 more cracks at it, and we still have to see what the Dwarf Castle gives us.
Sword. Okay.
I mean, it is a key item. You'll take that for now.
Mm-hmm. And if you get the adamant ore early enough, you can hop down to Kukul's and see if you spike a nice weapon.
I mean, given the way that the weaponry has been doled out so far, you almost are kind of a little bit mad that it's not just the default, because you'd almost like an Excalibur right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine that we'll see a Fey March check just for the bosses and the freebie, and then probably looking at what that Pan's giving, because you want to get as many key items in your system as you can. Because you'll probably want to find that Baron Key as well, because that's 3 checks, 2 of them that are very quick to go through.
Yeah, I mean, we already know one of them. Yeah, we know one of them is Young, but the other 2.
But this is about the point that we'll start to see if there's deviance now, so we shall see. We can see here in Tamra, finally, at least some level of weaponry for Edge, getting a couple of ninja swords in. Now, the real question is how long until we find some Hanzo Steel, just to really let that settle in, that you just spent 132,000 and you immediately find better weapons.
I mean, that's how it always goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
it looks like Sorbius done with his requisite visit to Tomra.
And Funnelcakes following suit. So even with shop checks, we're still seeing no deviance yet. So we're still waiting for when that path finally breaks off.
No, Funnelcake's doing much less shopping. Just pick the item shop and mosey on.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're probably just trying to get any idea if there's going to be sirens somewhere.
Variation! Funnelcakes is going to visit Yong first.
It was bound to happen at some point. Hey, we can go underground now. Oh, wait. And there's our sirens and silk webs, no less.
Ooh. Very nice item shop here.
Yeah, that is going to definitely come in handy. So Sorbius will check those bosses, taking a quick 10, just in case any of them are ones he wants to fight. And we shall see what another 2 bosses are going to look like here.
Oh, just a white shirt from the Sylphs.
Not a bad pickup. So let's see, do we get any more objectives in here, or are we going to be staring at 2 bosses that we might need items from? Oh no.
Yep, 2 bosses we might need items from, but hey, that is going to be an easy enough fight.
And you got the coffins for it, so done and done. So worst case scenario, it is experience. Best case scenario, it ends up being something you might want to use, like an Earth Crystal or a Baron Key.
Yeah, and actually that Astra should also be, I won't say easy, but viable. Putting her in her vanilla spot, you know you can do wall strats, Starveil strats.
Yeah.
And, the punches will hurt, but you can,
hey, there's
you can
your
live with that.
Supersmith.
Hey!
And we'll see if Sorbius has that temptation to go do it, and looks to be doing it, so... I mean, if you can handle them, why not? Get those in.
Mm-hmm.
Take them out of your head. That way you never have to think about... Because especially if you left this fight and that's going to be in your head the entire time, that maybe you're looking for 2 bosses, they happen to be at Zod, for example, and this gives you Earth Crystal. That's going to be sticking in your head for a while. So even if it ends up being nothing, it removes it from your brain. You don't have to consider it at any point ever again. You can just focus on your next move. Now, Funnel, I think, should only have 1 coffin left, so...
No, it has 2. Perfect.
Must have only coffined 3 of those Mad Ogres, so... Still an easy fight for him as well. I mean, this still would have been easy even if you just had to fight one of them. It just would have been a little bit extra punchy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and going for Life Glitch, get a little bit extra XP, and hey, the one guard decided to punch Tella, so brilliant. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah, that's when you're like, well, worse things could have happened.
Oh, yeah.
The old man needed a nap anyway.
Well, will Funnelcakes turn around and take that Astra fight? No, he will not.
Ooh, so we will find out shortly if this was worth it or not. This ends up being a bit of a zonk. This might give Funnelcakes a chance to put some ground in between, and we are going to get a Supersmith.
Yay. Able Lance. Able Lance.
I mean, considering we have a spoon right now, a Loki harp would be also kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Hey, good joke.
Always appreciate a good joke. Let's see what we got in here. Well, I mean, We found most of these already. Well, you were talking earlier about how this is Edge's domain. Well, the seed is clearly starting to point that this is Edward's domain now.
It's the Ed show for multiple values of Ed.
Well, Funnelcakes decided not to go with the Asura, but is going to go check the tower now.
I mean, if nothing else, the Super Cannon room is definitely going to be easier than this. So
Yeah.
might be looking at that array of items and saying, maybe I have enough to find the other bosses. You're not guaranteed to. Earth Crystal, Baron Key is still outstanding, but there's still a lot on the moon to go peak.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, start getting more of that boss knowledge, and especially in an easy spot like this.
And you wonder too if Funnel's going to tower right off the bat, if Funnel may even just completely skip top.
I might. But that was a Paladin. That technically that happened.
Yeah, it was a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a zonk on the Asurus, so oof.
Especially with that time investment that Sorbius made.
Yeah, that's gonna sting a little bit. This is where you wonder too. I mean, I would assume he might check the pan now, but this is also the point where you start thinking, shoot, do I just go to the moon now and just get this going?
I feel like this pan check is going to nudge you in that direction, if only because it's another zonk. I mean, white shirt is good, but it's a zonk.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what Sheila gives you, that might throw a little bit of panic and just start going, you know what, maybe I just need to go to the moon and just run.
And yeah, to refresh chat, the starting boss, the hand over the item, that was Yang, the karate fight. But we still don't know the other two bosses that are at Baron. And with to find out quite yet.
Well, we've got another sparkle there. So we've seen a couple now, and this one's going to be Plague, which it's a lot of HP. It's going to be a lot of messing around with your inventory and messing around with your party to try to keep people up. So this will be fun.
Yeah, but we have a drunk bard with a spoon, so we got that going for us.
Yeah, you at least have something to work with here. Oh, and Sorbius is about to go see the other joke too. I appreciate that the seed is supplying both of our runners with plenty of entertainment. Our runners may not find it entertaining, but we are.
I know it is possible, and I've done this, to have the party just be so blindingly fast that you don't actually have to do shenanigans, you just have to zerk up. I don't think this party in this spot is going to be able to do that, but they might.
Yeah, it's another one of those magical things that I've never been able to replicate, because me and agility magic don't get along very well.
Yeah, but it's also completely irrelevant. Funnelcakes just does a lot of damage very quickly.
Yeah, benefits to having a party that's already decently leveled up so far, and oh, well, that's another zonk, so depending on whether Sorbius or not goes to the tower, that might have evened out with the time that they've spent, so actually that's also got to think about we haven't seen the tower key result of that key item check either, right? Sorbius is completely bypassing the tower, so
okay, yeah. This is feeling more and more like we just got to go to the moon and deal with moon fights.
Yep. I mean, we'll see, obviously. If Funnel ends up pulling an Earth Crystal or a Baron Key, that'll be very interesting here.
Mm-hmm. Or if those are over on Sheila, which both of our runners will, in all likelihood, go do. Sorbius getting that right now. Funnelcakes, I imagine that's his first stop once he surfaces.
Mm-hmm. So we'll definitely see. There is a real potential here to see, at least on Funnel's side, a check that Sorbius might not be making for a while. So if that check ends up paying off, because I imagine, there's the Earth Crystal, so that's one.
And the pink tail.
Okay.
Okay.
So Really, there's 3 interesting items here that could come off. I mean, Baron Key, Package, and Luca Key, but the Baron Key would be the most interesting. And it's
Oh, that's the
not.
least interesting.
Okay, so on Sorbius's end, skipping tower is a fantastic idea. And now you have a potential to do a Twin Harp and Earth Crystal check here.
Yep, but you also have the potential to do a little bit of an egg grind, as Funnelcakes is doing. We have 10 key items. It turns out we have more than 10 key items. We have a lot of key items.
Yeah, that's going to speed up the process a little bit here. I mean, double XP is nothing to scoff at. Ooh, thinking about other checks though, this like we were talking about, the Pinktail is not exactly something interesting. Man, this could really turn out to be something interesting if it happens to be a Cecil weapon. Ooh, close.
That's a special weapon.
That makes it pretty spicy.
Again, I fully expect Funnelcakes will have access to this coming out of the Sheila checks. Will he go and bother checking it? That's the real question.
That is the real question here. And yeah, looks like we're gonna see. I mean, maybe. Well, we'll see. Does he go to Harp first, or does he go and peek Treasury right now? I mean, given how low the HP is, I would be checking Harp anyway, just because you're going to bypass the initial part of the fight now.
Yeah. And so, it's Sorbius explaining the punchline for folks not familiar. Loki Harp, basically the ultimate weapon made available for Edward in the advanced version. Still not as good as a spoon.
Yeah, Free Enterprise found a way to make that Loki Harp pretty irrelevant by a lot. You know, it's only about, what, 90 attack power better? You know, nothing too big.
I mean, I'm sure the Loki Harp gives you stats in some way that I will never remember unless I press select and get the little pop-up. But spoon is the counter argument there. Spoon.
Yeah, it's the Loki Harp just isn't as funny either.
Yeah.
And you have Tello in the party too. You have to put the spoon on now. It's required.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it turns out Sorbius has decided to go and do the harp check, the key item that we started this run with.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what Funnel decides to do, knowing that you have a harp and Earth Crystal combination as well. It's possible they both have a similar idea here, but it's also very possible that Funnel goes, I spent enough time checking stuff. Maybe it is moon time. And you have done some grinding too, so...
Yeah, again, it's that play, counterplay kind of thing, playing against your opponent, the one that's right in front of you. And Sorbius has decided it's harp time, so we are going to be quiet so that you can hear DJ Spoony B's rocking tunes.
We have like 10 seconds. Required harp. Yes.
Ooh. I mean, not strictly speaking required, but probably required.
But back to tunes again. 2.0. Let's go. All right, so you remember how we were talking about going to the moon? I have a feeling our runners are not going to be touching the moon anytime soon now.
You know, maybe the launch is delayed slightly.
You know, this Magnus required boss and a Baron key. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and entirely possible we have another required boss behind that key, making the whole Twin Harp path hard required. But as it stands, you're happy to hit that now. The sooner you're getting boss. Yeah, no, this is a very reasonable play.
Yeah, you probably feel like I shouldn't be wasting any more time after that is like the Asura and other things. Now, Funnel is going to be coming up to check for us, so we at the very least will know, hey, if our Holy Sword finally exists.
Great Vast Treasury!
So let's try this. That's not the right crystal. Hey, that's an Ninja Sword.
Defense Kane's ultimate weapon. Kane's not here. Another Stardust Rod. Another Avenger.
Well, I guess we don't need the Pinktail anymore.
No. Murrah.
There's a Hanzo, but no Holy Sword.
Yeah, Cecil is really hurting today.
So a lot of generosity from Cubs' roll today, except if you're Cecil. I mean, the Avenger's nice.
Yeah, I guess we just decided Paladin, not the meta.
No.
It's Bard and Ninja. That's the meta.
Yeah, it's just really sneaky songs all the way through the seed.
I love the notion of sneaky songs.
I'm just loving the idea of like a stealthy bard sneaking around with a lute and just like surprising people by playing Freebird next to them when they least expect it.
Just Hotel California sneaking between the shadows.
Well, we already see a Mom Bomb in the one slot, so that's one boss down with no result. We will see if anything comes out here in the second spot. Although I know people probably know what the boss is based on the ears. I have no idea. This is completely unknown to me.
There's groups you can identify based on the ears, and apparently those pigs meant Valus. Turns out. Oh yeah, this is Vanilla. This is where she normally shows up.
Okay, so how many instances is that? We had our Vanilla, we had our Octoman, we've had this now.
This is actually like a pretty standard amount of vanilla for the level of randomization that we do in this flag set. This is, actually pretty typical, but it's fun to point it out constantly. It's not obnoxious. It's very fun.
I mean, can we have Cave Magnus results being more vanilla? That would be fantastic. I mean, I say that with the potential that Baron doesn't even house anything we want either, but who knows? Mm-hmm. But it's a great play. You go from here straight to Baron, so that's another boss checks you can do. So
yeah, you love that routing when you can do that.
And just for more fun, can we get a package out of this? Just for that extra cherry on top here.
Get the package, and then get the Luca key out of Baron. That's like literally all your key items. That's all your checks. Or you can get the Luca key now, get the package later. That's all your checks.
You can get the package at Baron. There's still time. We're okay. You still have Basement and Baron.
Yeah. But technically speaking, yes, we are now in go mode because there's only one boss we can't access. So technically, we can go and clear the objectives. We have no idea where they are, but we can do them.
Ooh, I like this. Cheeky save here to go oh no. Never mind.
Ooh. Nope. We wanted the cave, not the tower. Good train of thought, but doesn't quite stick the landing. This is gonna be two fights that Sorbius doesn't really care for.
The upside is that on Sorbius' side, may not even take this tower fight. Because he's not going to check the top. He may just be checking the super cannon. Because you're only missing the package. You're okay with not doing fights you don't need to do now.
Very true. Very true.
So at this point, we're just face checking. I would hope.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a good strategy. If Funnel hadn't checked yet, and you find a boss either here or Luca, like you now are one away. Yeah, and Sorb
Yep,
just takes
there you
that
go.
quick stare, takes a deep breath, sighs, and we're back to normal. So we probably check Luca, and then probably Baron.
Yeah, I think Baron's the next best density. Moon is the highest density, but Baron fights are going to be so much faster.
Yeah, that's the either or at this point that we're gonna see. It really depends on what each runner thinks that the other is doing. That's the big thing.
Yep. It comes back. We keep saying that meta game, that playing against your opponent as well as against the seed.
And it's been so interesting watching as our runners have mostly, whether they think what the other's doing, they're literally almost lock and step. Except now we finally have a bit of deviation again, as Funnel is going to go straight through Baron, while Sorbius takes the rope of shame there. That every single one of us has taken way more than we'd like
Always.
to admit.
Yep. Yeah, I when we get to interview time, I really want to ask these two like when they felt like they started to deviate from the other, because I suspect it's not when they actually did.
And if I remember correctly, I think Sorbius did leave a save that's right at Baron. So if this turns out to be nothing either, he's not going to have to do any walking back. He'll just quickly reload that save. So, but this is big. If this ends up coming through with something, this will be interesting because Funnel may just come because it's just the Luca he'd have to come back for. He may just go straight to Moon.
Yep. And like, say we have the gauntlet on the throne, and then Magus Sisters down in Sealed Cave. Sorbius is going to come back and do Baron. I feel like that's very likely.
Yeah, if one happens to be in Baron, ooh.
He'll get to go mode Moon. Just run straight. Oh!
That's not the Moon.
No, that's a very deep cave. That's like extremely ant-lying cave.
That's a real shame.
On the other hand, though, like Alien's been up in the cave game. You gotta respect that.
I think Sorbs has now realized, okay, there's no way that my opponent didn't. If they took this train, they went straight to Baron. I need to go to the Moon.
Yeah. And
so far, that might be paying off depending on what the basement is.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen what's left here on the board. Again, that Masa Gauntlet's starting to get a little bit more potential here. And there's a potential problem if, in some weird way, because we have two other bosses left, if the basement or the package houses one of these bosses and it's not the Gauntlet, Sorbius is going to end up doing a Gauntlet on the Moon, which is not great, especially if it's at Masa.
Especially if it's a Gauntlet on the Moon that Funnelcakes doesn't have to do.
That's the big
one. Yeah.
I have commentated, let alone watched races in this tournament that have been decided because that Gauntlet takes so long.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see on Funnel's side what that item is, because if that's a package, that's just a little bit of extra spice.
And I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with why we're so excited about this, but for those who are not, the alt Gauntlet that we have set up here pulls enemies from the local area. Just Dragoon armor. So as you get deeper into the game, the alt Gauntlet becomes more and more rude because it's just pulling encounters that you would run into. And the Moss Altar in particular has some nasty stuff.
Yeah. There is, and as we keep getting closer and closer here, it's rearing its ugly head. And our runners are sitting in the back of their minds being, please don't make me do this. Please, anything else. Because, you can get the Gauntlet at Mura, and it's not terrible, especially in comparison to Masa.
Oh, yeah. And there are some spots on the Moon where it's like your damage profile, essentially, is what makes the difference. If you're coming in with a bunch of mages, it's very different than coming in with a bunch of Zerkers.
Yes.
So there are some spots where this party specifically is going to be fine. But we do have Sorbius back. He is in Baron, going through those fights that, it turns out, all are Womps.
Yep. And we thought Sorbius was about to head to the Moon, but instead decided to take Baron now, which that's going to end up backfiring.
Mm-hmm.
So now it becomes a matter of Giant versus LST versus Cave Bahamut. Cave Bahamut is the
Yeah.
easiest face check, but there's always the possibility that it's a 1-2 Giant, because that's also happened a number of times in this tournament.
I personally, my approach would be Bahamut LST. If it's a 2-party giant, then I've lost. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
I would rather say I'm going to the moon and I'm going to the moon. If this was, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go finish your thought there.
I was gonna say, if this was a seed where I was doing a lot more aggressive grinding at some point, then I would be like, maybe I can swing the giant and get lucky on some of those pulls. But in this setup, I would rather hit the moon first. And it looks like that's what Funnelcakes is gonna do.
Yep. It's gonna be very interesting now, because if Sorbius happens to take a slightly different approach, we're in the end game here, so we're gonna see which way was the right way.
But a fair question in chat, like, what bosses that we have left would be really nasty in, say, the element spot or the CPU spot? I feel like Maga Sisters, just because that spot has so much HP that it kind of overflows if you have a single target, but once you have 3 targets, they are just chunky. That's a Mylon in Cave Bahamut.
And at this point too, we're hour 10 in. You're looking for 2 bosses. Both of our runners basically know the moon is where everything is. Sorbius will pretty much be getting that confirmation shortly. You got to be wondering if the panic's starting to settle in a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Especially because both of our runners have had a few zonks here. Obviously, Funnel with Tower, Sorbius with the Asura fight. They don't know that either, has done what they've done, but you are knowing that you've been 2 bosses away for a little while now, and you're still coming up short with a couple of the gambles that you might be thinking you're taking. So
yeah, but as we have Funnelcakes running down into the LST, just want to quickly shout out Cubs Roll as our restreamer and seed roller, and dealing with a handful of tech issues that we've been having very nicely. And Fry Potato, who has been doing the tracking and has had a lot of tracking to do. So we have darn near every key item at this point.
Yep. And Sorbius going to go on the moon as well, so we'll see which direction he decides to go with first. Funnel finds the wall, so we're definitely running out of spots now. Sorbius is checking Cave Bahamut first, which means Funnelcakes at this point has the advantage if the 2 bosses happen to be in the lower end of the LST.
Mm-hmm. There are 4 slots left to find them in.
So at this point, assuming Sorbius is taking the entire LST before Giant, Funnel has the advantage from here on out, unless Funnel ends up wiping to any of these bosses. So it's going to be a matter of just being able to finish your fights. It's just going to be a matter of getting these done as quickly as possible. And the possibility still exists that the LST is completely haunted and it's a 1-2 Giant with a package boss as the last. That's still possible. We're down to, I believe, 7 locations.
I believe you are right, yes.
So the math is there. It's not out of the realm of possibility at this point.
I think both of our voters would be terrified if that ends up happening. As low percentage as that would be, that you dug the entire moon and everything was on Giant. You have to feel like your opponent did Giant first.
The only saving grace at this juncture is that, well, except in Funnel's case, because Funnel doesn't check Luca, you can face check everything and know that even if it's at package, if I don't find anything on the LST, I have 2 at Giant, I'm good. In Funnel's case, Luca still exists, so that's not quite it. But Sorbius now knows that anything he face check does not need to be done here if it's not a boss that's on the objective table.
And there's the face check of Evil Wall. There's the reset out of Evil Wall.
And we see Funnel at Crystal Sword. And there's the D-Lunars. So another one down.
3 slots left on the LST.
Funnel now making the walk to get back to the ribbon area. Sorbius, if Sorbius bypasses the crystal sword, that will help a little bit in catching up. I think Funnel will be ahead just by a little still, though. Maybe about 30 seconds or so. But this is very close right now. And if our runners are coming across bosses at very similar times, this Z fight is going to be another close one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've already seen these 2 runners in the same fight and having things pivot just based on how one fight goes. We are well within that range still, an hour 14 in.
Yep. So we see now a white spear, another crack at it. We still got 3 to look for. You got to see one eventually. And
that ain't it.
That's a blue robe, but not the right one. So, and we are also that much closer mathematically to a Masa gauntlet, which, oh no.
We're that much closer to a double giant, but there's the Magus Sisters.
So we're 1 in. Okay. So if you're Funnel now, you are looking down almost a 50-50. Well, you're looking for 1 of 2 bosses. You're now staring it down, and oh no. Moss is going to be there, isn't it? Moss is going to be, oh no.
Gauntlet at Masa or Golbez at Masa. You are not happy about either of those prospects.
You're almost sitting here being like, please, can I face check this and just go to Giant? I almost would rather go to Giant now. Either that or Funnels, there might be a secret, please let it be packaged in one of these 2 chests. I'd almost take that now.
But yeah, this is normally the D-Lunars, and they both have... Oh, I don't remember the exact amount, but it is quite a lot of HP. So that's getting spread across the 3 of these targets. Technically, they're a little squishier than D-Lunars, I guess, but still not friendly.
Oh, man. So we're definitely very close to our end here, but my god, has this been really tight. This is all about execution now. Or in the case of Bacchus whining, this is a little bit of luck too.
And honestly, you'd love to see that, especially like in this Blue Moon bracket, that tends to lean a little more towards variance. Having a race come down to just like, okay, you've reduced the variance, can you execute? Is that, we're testing that skill now too. And there's our Holy Sword, finally!
Hey! Well, we mentioned at the beginning of the show just how good both of these runners are, and this is a match that some would have considered much later in the bracket than it is right now. And we're seeing just exactly why. Both of our runners lock in step almost the entire race. Light variation. The lead is technically changed a few times if you want to look at it that way, but it's been neck and neck the entire time.
Yeah, we're even running the same parties. Like we made the same decisions on that front. But here is the gauntlet.
Well, have fun with that, Funnelcakes. I'm gonna sit here behind the glass and just enjoy it for what it is.
So here, yep, we get 5 fights back to back, pulled from the random encounter pool of the final zone of Final Fantasy IV. Have fun.
And it's now going to come down to execution by every means here, because this is the true test for our runners in this. But at this point, Funnel does have the advantage with the sirening that he did beforehand. This is definitely helping a little bit. And that power's a little stronger too.
And what we were saying earlier about, in some slots, it's better if you have a Zerker party versus a Mage party or vice versa. I feel like this is better for a Zerker party. Behemoths are going to counter all the time, but a lot of things here have spell protection or spell counters.
Yeah. But yeah, this may actually be a case that if things stay the way that they are and Funnel stays ahead the rest of the way, this is really a matter of that slight bit of extra grinding, and also going and checking that treasury because you got the Murasame, so you did get a little bit of extra attack for edge there, which is going to help.
Yep.
So we'll see. Sorbius will likely be going to see the bad news.
I mean, there's no reason not to at this point. But how quickly will it go for Sorbius versus how quickly it goes for Funnelcakes? And what's going to be our delta as we get into the Zeromus fight?
Yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, it's Funnel's in the driver's seat. It's one wipe that can change it. That's really going to be it.
Yep.
Now, the levels that Funnel's carrying will definitely help a little bit. I mean, Edward's going to be the odd one out just because his HP levels suck no matter how much you grind.
Yeah. And I mean, Tella's the same way, but you're not really relying on Tella for much.
No, Tella's there to throw the crystal, and then that's about the most you get. If you get an extra turn out of Tella, you take that as like, oh, okay, you know.
Mm-hmm. Love to see it. But even little things like that counter nuke when you first nerf the Big Bang, if that goes in the wrong place, that can mess up your fight, or at least make it harder to get on the footing that you want.
Yeah. Oh, we can see here, the Red Dragons, you know, you're starting to see a little bit of not worry. Oh, no, now maybe there's a little worry.
Now we hit the worry button.
Yeah, now we're a little concerned.
But Cecil, I think Cecil has Dragoon armor on.
Yeah, Cecil has a little bit better defense, but, you know, you're going into this next fight with one person. I think you might have Avenger on, too. Oh, no, you're not.
That is the last one.
Yeah, never mind. You breathe that sigh of relief, and the only question left is, do you swag walk down?
No!
Not after a gauntlet, you don't.
Hey, Amasa! Is this the Amasa altar? I always mix up the two.
Yes, it is.
But hey, Vanilla. Love it. This is gonna be an interesting Z fight.
Oh, we're swagging.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
Is that swag or fear?
I mean, you may also think, based on the way the seed's gone, that your opponent may actually be right with you, so... Mm-hmm. I mean, both of our runners know how good the other is, so they are probably thinking even 15 seconds might be too much time.
Yeah,
now, in Funnel's case, no, actually, you got some time to work with as long as you don't wipe, so... Unbeknownst to Funnel, actually in very good shape here, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, and we don't know what Z is going to look like. Zeromus does this whole costume thing. It's very exciting. It's very endearing. We kind of love him for it. But also, he's the final boss. So we got to defeat him.
And I'm starting to see some flags in chat, so... You know, I sometimes I forget, but I think there is a question that we generally ask with this.
There are a lot of questions, and I think the one that we'll go with is, in the name of the moon, how's that hat looking? I think that was about right.
I'm here for that. That. But also, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? But as a Gaia hat member, I can accept any hat related question.
And we have Proto Trigger. I don't think Specchio ever wears a hat.
No. I mean, people might try to make a case that that's a hat on there, but
that's a tough to hair. Sorry.
No. Oh, hey, a good Thor Rage for 1 HP. Well done, Edge. Well done.
Mm-hmm. Yep, get that counter nuke, get that nerf in. That counter didn't even do a lot of damage. Rosa is going to handle this just fine.
So really the question at this point is just going to be, how long does Edward last? That's really going to be the key in how fast this fight goes. I think with the levels that Funnel has, unless things like go really wrong, I think we're okay, because Rosa's even got quite a bit of HP as well. So it's really not going to... I feel like it's not a matter of if. I think it's just a matter of how fast.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. And, even if Edward gets knocked down here, we're seeing... Oh, of course he doesn't. But we're seeing big damage coming from Cecil thanks to that crystal sword.
Yeah.
So losing Edward is, at worst, losing a third of your damage, I would say.
And
which
even
is
Edge
meaningful,
right now,
but... Yeah.
Even Edge rolling nearly 4,000 there because you have both the Hanzo swords. That's just... You're feeling pretty happy about this fight.
Oh, yeah. This was a seed that... it had the goods, but you had to work for them. But
Yes,
by the time you get to Zeromus, you've done the work.
Yeah, and again, the difference maker, that little bit of extra siren grinding just to get those levels up, and it's clearly paid off here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the gauntlets definitely helped your levels along too.
But it made getting through the gauntlet that much faster.
Yes. As we can see, Sorbius nearly done himself. And might actually finish with 2 characters intact, but either way... With Funnel really not having any issues there, and as we see...
Oh, that's already a crumble.
That was
wow.
super fast.
That is Funnelcakes through the Z fight, through the seed. I'll get the official time in just a moment, but has taken the win here tonight.
The Pink Puff League just absolutely showing their stuff right now. 3 in the last 2 seasons. 3 actually. I think 3 of our main graduates in the top 2 are now in the round of 16 in this bracket. Jeez.
Yeah, it's seriously impressive.
So we will definitely see shortly if we're going to get Funnel in for an interview here. Speak of the devil, we are joined by Funnelcakes. GG's on this run. How you feeling after this race?
I feel my heart's pounding a little bit. I thought I was like, man, things are on the moon. I did a bunch of Earth stuff I didn't need to do, and then I won, and I felt all right.
This is a question that I've wanted to ask for a fair amount of this seed. At what point do you feel like your path really diverged from what Sorbius did?
I think it might have been the Asura. Because unless he demachined, I forgot to ask him, but
no demachine.
No demachine. Okay, I saw the darkness and I'm like, all right, it's either demachine and get a bunch of levels or just run down the hook. And I think what it sounded like he did Feymarch and Luca, and I just kind of decided it was moon time. The one boss wasn't gonna make or break it.
I mean, you're approaching the moon around the same time, but yeah, the Ashura was a difference. I dare say there was hardly any real deviation between you two. It's just you faded a few of those spots that wound up having nothing, and that bought you a good bit of time.
Yeah, that's what it was sounding like when we were talking about it. We both kind of played super earth heavy, and the 2 bosses were kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the entire seed, you were both pretty much changing who was slightly in front, but still taking mostly the same paths. I mean, both of you made a couple of early zonks in the underground. You took the tower, he took the Asura fight. So you both kind of, even with the deviation, we're still pretty close to each other. It seems like just in the end was the siren grinds that kind of really tipped it for you. Were you just thinking with the bosses especially left, especially that gauntlet, which happened to be at Masa, we've been literally talking about the entirety of this race, were you just thinking, you know what, I should just get a couple of eggs in just in case something really rude's up there?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It was just kind of get to a more comfortable health level, and then it felt like it would help with my the earth checks I had of just being able to kill things in less rounds, right? Get some damage up a little higher, and then it's maybe it's only 2 swings from Edward and Edge, and then we're done instead of a cycle around.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's go with a fun question. How are you feeling about the lack of holy swords till literally the very end?
I was a little worried. I'm like, well, worst case scenario, Cecil's gonna stand in slot 4 and nerf Big Bangs. That was my plan for him until I pulled a crystal sword and went, all right, everything's changed. We're going Trizerkers.
I mean, given that party, especially where you were by the end of it. You're thinking, okay, well, this is going to go progressively faster.
Oh yeah, I was putting out like 14K, I think, if my math was right around.
Yeah,
we
roughly
were
14, yeah.
we were cruising.
Yeah, I mean that finish like caught me by surprise.
Yeah, I was like, all right, maybe he'll big bang once more, and the next swing will get it. And he's like, nah, we're just done. Seed's over.
But yeah, as we were mentioning, you have that really strong performance as in the Pink Puff group, and then coming into here and now making it to the round of 16. How are you feeling about your run in the Blue Moon tournament thus far?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I've played pretty well both my 2 races. Still some things to tweak up. The Ogo stuff was a little unfortunate, not healing and then taking a second wipe on it, but I know Ogo's kind of rude and can definitely ruin some days with some unlucky punches.
Yeah, and with the Pink Puff League as well. I mean, your co-graduate Reckless Charlie also in the round of 16. I mean, there's a ways to go, but there's still a potential point that both of you can match up at each other again if you both win the next 2 rounds. So, that's always a possibility. And also even with Kyrios from last season, like PPL has been doing very fantastically. Like, it's got to be pretty cool looking at just the group as a whole and seeing just how well they've done specifically in this tournament.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice seeing the PPL players kind of just rising up, and part of it is there could be a season 2 versus season 3 finals for the waxing bracket, which would be a very fun experience in terms of matchups with runners in the community.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the round of 16 and we got 3 PPLs in here, so yeah, there's a very distinct chance of that. That would be really cool to watch. But I mean, right now you only got your next round in front of you. You do have Noob Tree 87 going in. Have you been studying them at all ahead of time, or are you just busy focusing on this and not really thinking too much about it?
Kind of just mostly focusing on this. I don't do a ton of study, to be honest. I kind of focus more. I don't want to change my game too much. I want to kind of do what's comfortable for me, what's in my wheelhouse, instead of a habit they might have and trying to play around it too much.
Yeah, and that makes total sense. Hupfin, do you have any last questions here?
Nothing else from me, no.
So other than that, Funnel, do you have any last thoughts, any last memes after this round? This honestly early generous seed, and then a lot of pain and leading up to what ended up being a Masa Gauntlet as we all kind of worried it was going to be.
It was a nice change of pace from some of the other seeds I've run. It was kind of it felt good, then you just kind of had to make the right decisions and kind of bear down through a middle. But I'm happy with it. I enjoy watching this one back. But yeah, it was a good race.
Absolutely, GG's, and you enjoy the rest of your night and get prepared for the round of 16 as you continue to go forward through this tournament.
Thank you. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, same to you. And yeah, as we're having that conversation, Sorbius did finish. Has indicated that will not be coming in for an interview, which is always the runner's prerogative. But we'll say GG's to Sorbius and again to Funnelcakes, and thank both of them for being willing to be restreamed and bring us this show. And thanks again to Cubs Rule for handling the restream and the technical side of it, and Fried Potato for taking care of the tracking. And of course, CS Radical, thank you very much for joining me in the booth this evening.
Yeah, happy to be here. I mean, especially this race. This was an absolute treasure to watch. We saw 2 incredible runners really on each other's tails the entire race. And sometimes it's that simple little thing. It just seems like that little extra grind and just one less check. That's all it took. And sometimes it's how the sea goes. Could have been so much different if Sorbius got lucky on that Luca check and only had to do that fight in the ribbon room. That could have also made the difference. You never know.
Yeah. That's Rando's gonna Rando in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, other than that, unless you have any last thoughts, Hupfin, that's probably going to do it for us.
Nope, that will indeed do it for us. So we are going to send you all over to the main Free Enterprise channel, as we have Commander Leonhardt and Apex Corbett, I believe.
Yep, that's already in progress and is another two fantastic runners. So that is going to be another great race to come and catch as well. And make sure as well, you're not spoiling the results of this race either, in case people do want to watch this one back. And honestly, they should, because this was a great race.
I started doing that, like you point at your eyes and then point at the camera kind of thing. The camera's not even on. That's not very intimidating to y'all, chat. But you know, no spoilers.
No spoilerinos.
But we'll see y'all over there, and we'll see y'all next week with more of the Zemus Zone 5 tournament.